Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this gorgeous, beautiful world. I hope wherever you're at, you're having a beautiful day. Today, I've got the opportunity to work with someone that I really appreciate, and I'm delighted that he's back in our industry. His name is Tommy, and it's either Issa or Issa, depending on whether you're on the West Coast or the East Coast, but we call him Tomy Issa. So thank you, Tommy. Great to have you here. And Tommy is now heading up Datacom Systems, a company that I've had over 35 years experience with, very back in the very early days when we were building Ethernet at Network General. We needed taps, and I went to Herb Webb, who was the founder of this company, and Ed St. Pierre. Both of them have passed away, so God rest them. But they were the first ones in this industry to build not only an aggregate tap, but a bypass tap. And from that, they've grown and grown and grown. And today, we want to put to rest a few rumors that Datacom Systems is gone. How do you respond to that, Tommy?
Well, thank you, Tim, for the kind introduction. We're here to stay. We never went away, actually, and we're stronger than ever. We've been reorganized, and a new management came in and a new ownership, and their interest is to keep pushing disruptive solutions out of Datacom, just like they did back in the early 90s, mid 90s. The nice thing about this new reorganization is we have engineers at the helm of the company, people that appreciate the technology and are willing to endure and stay with it until they create new disruptive products. You know, they're not just numbers people. They're engineers who know and appreciate the industry and are passionate about the technology we're in.
Yeah, earlier you were telling me that you got a great mix of engineers. You got the old stodgy, it's got to be perfect technologists, and then you've got these new innovative programmers, Linux people that live and breathe Linux, and you've somehow been able to mesh that together. To me, that's real important because I'm old, of course, and I believe in the old style of technology, but at the same time, it looks like you putting this together in such a way where you're going to get the best of both those worlds.
I think you're right. And as you know, engineers tend to be stubborn. You know, they have the not invented here syndrome. Mm-hmm. They don't want to copy things. They want to create original material. And whether you're old school or new school, that phenomenon hasn't changed. Both sides of the spectrum want to create things on their own. I think for the last 2 years, we've been working with what I want to call millennials that are able to understand Linux much better than us old school guys. But after some experience, they found out that the old school team knows a few things about technology too. And so once I started getting those two to work together, I think we ended up seeing a lot of interesting improvement and enhancements. You know, because the new school kids, they know how to create things, but they don't necessarily understand the real life applications of how you use them, right? So when the old school engineers come in and say, no, you can't do this, you have to do it that way, they fight and they question each other. But I love to be in those matches. It's like watching a Hollywood movie when you see those guys fighting, because that's what engineers like to do. But once they start working together and once they start developing respect for each other, I think that's when you see productivity come. And I think we've reached that stage now where I'm seeing the collaboration between the two schools.
That's fantastic.
It's exciting.
You know, yeah, I bet that is exciting. So being an old engineer, my model always was, my desire was to tear apart whatever you design and try to make it better.
Yeah, that hasn't changed much.
Yeah, sometimes I did and sometimes I didn't. So yeah, when you look at Datacom Systems, what is your focus for the next 2 to 4 years as you begin to redevelop this company and make it a national company, an international company?
Yeah, we are an international company, but unfortunately, the previous management there were great managers, you know, I mean, I'm not saying anything negative. It's just that the focus has shifted away from the US for a while. And I'm bringing that focus again. I mean, we do build and design and build our products all in the US. We use components that are sourced out of the US. And the ones that are not sourced out of the US, they are from friendly countries, you know. So why not continue our focus here? So my interest and the strategy is to really strengthen our US presence and continue building our US market.
And actually,
we work with.
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
go ahead. No, I was going to say the one thing I've always liked about Datacom is they can sell you a tap, or they can sell you an entire visibility solution. So to me, that's always been the thing. You can start out with something small, but you can grow to be as big as you want.
Yeah, that the modular approach is what we're using. You're absolutely right. So we cannot really go head to head with the big giants in the industry and build 7 or 9U rack and with the vertical blades and all that. I mean, we could one day, but that's not our focus. Really, what we're doing is building medium density, half 1U, half width products that can be meshed together to form a system that can be managed as one system. So you will see from Datacom more and more products with that form factor. We are all, like I said, they're all designed here from the ground up. So because of that, we're able to let those products talk to each other and work together. We're not white labeling and OEMing products from other places where each product has its own operating system, and their own way of getting managed. That's not how we're doing it. We're all, because they're designed here, they can mesh together properly. They can you can set up a high availability mesh where they can load bear from each other. They can also be managed from one central location. And then when you take one port from one product and pass it through to another product, it'll all be in a non-blocking fashion. So it would all look to you like one virtual network packet broker if you want it to look that way.
That's fantastic.
And obviously it's copper and fiber and all kinds of different cables that we can auto sense and be able to work with.
That's fantastic.
So,
and you also told me that.
that.
Yeah, and you also told me that one of the new things is warm updates, which is kind of a new term to me because I'm always used to, you know, update, shut it down, bolt it, restart it, and but you're talking about warm upgrades. Tell us about that.
So, you know, most of our competitors have products that are maybe 2 to 3 years old, at least. Being able to jump on the latest software bandwagon with all the latest and greatest in Linux and other things that have come to fruition, like DevOps, we're able to use Linux to allow our products to get upgraded while they're still in the network running. Obviously, to a certain extent, if you're changing the firmware, you have to take a product down. But if you're adding features or you're changing different templates on the way they are configured, you can do that while the traffic is not affected. So that's one of the features that you can exploit with Linux. And we're basically piggybacking on that. Yeah.
That's interesting as heck. Can't wait to see more products like that. So what do you, when you look at the next 2 years, what do you see for our industry for, you know, the as we move more cloudish, we move more virtual, we don't know where our data's at. We pray that it's somewhere safe. You know, can we see our data? Sometimes not, sometimes yes. What do you see for the industry and for Datacom in the next couple to 3, 4 years?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I don't want to talk like the normal marketing folks would speak and talk about, you know, machine learning and AI, and we're going to add this and virtualization. All this is happening, but the previous job I had, Tim, I built a software-defined lab using NFV and the latest and greatest stuff. And we found out after we labored for 2 to 3 years that the market, there's so many dynamics in the market that you're changing the intellectual property from the secret sauce you have in the software or the hardware. You're changing it to the integration work that you have to do to get a product or a system like this to work. And normally those system integrators are extremely expensive. And if you go to talk to the service providers like the mobile carriers or the landline carriers or cable companies, they have expertise in-house, but they don't have that kind of expertise. You know, they still want one neck to choke, if you may. You know what I mean? Like when something goes wrong, even though they complain about those vendors, they still want to blame somebody that's heavyweight that can come and fix it for them. So yes, virtualization has some value in SD-WAN and in the virtual CPE market. We're seeing more and more in the EPC and 5G, but we haven't really seen it mature. So we're not playing that space in the next 2 years.
Okay, you're saying...
Intentionally, I said to the team, we're not going to dabble in virtualization until later. We would like to have a visibility network that's both virtual and physical work together, like a hybrid network work together, and that's doable. So, but what I see is collaboration is important, because most networks today have multi-vendors in the same network, multiple vendors, including the visibility space. You're going to see 2 or 3 different vendors. One vendor provides the smart, intelligent taps. Another vendor provides the analytics. Another vendor, the network packet brokerage. And, you know, the list can go on and on. In terms of analytics, you have multiple vendors, each one specialized in a certain area. Now, for the user, you have to be able to sit on one pane of glass and see, can I see an entire system and manage it that way? So to that extent, collaboration is important to Datacom, because
Absolutely.
We said, look, we don't mind being the slaves to other vendors, and we don't mind being the masters to other vendors. Let the customer decide, but we're going to build our product with APIs and the ability to observe and control our units as you please. So. Yep. So that's one thing we want to make sure we don't have any ego in this matter. You know, we don't want to be the masters. We can be slaves, and we're happy with it, because we're a small company, and we want to be able to be collaborative with other vendors.
That's fantastic.
And especially with next generation tool vendors. You know, the traditional tool vendors are out there. Most of them have succeeded beyond imagination, but there's a new breed of tool vendors, analytics tools, I mean, that are coming out. So security is important for that too. So part of our QA process is to do security audits on our products and to make sure that we have a report of the security audits to give to our customers, whether they're existing customers or new customers. They don't have to worry about security with our product, because we already passed all those audits.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And then last but not least, which I think other vendors out there like us have seen value, is metadata. The only difference is Datacom will be able to provide SFlow, NetFlow, or IPFix, but we're doing it at a minimal cost to the customer. We're not asking the customer to add a management subscriptions manager or a server just to keep track of what the customer's using and counting bits and bytes and flows and charging them accordingly. We're not going to be in that business. We're just going to add it as part of our features. And if a customer buys the annual maintenance, they will get that upgrade when it's available.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, you'll find that I'm not a big fan of IPv6, because I was on the NG group back in the 90s, and we threw that out and went after IPv6. And with almost 500 standards, IPv6 is not something I think we'll ever see. I'm concerned about that, because we do need some monstrous changes in our security and our network addressing to prevent the continued hacking. One of the things I've always seen with Datacom is, you know, we have the Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 companies, but all these small companies that are not in the Fortune even 5,000, they need visibility too. And that's always been in the very early days. I know Herb and them focused on those customers because they grow, you know, and as they grow, they need more technology, and they've developed a relationship. So one of the things I've always seen with Datacom is that relationship. You build a good relationship with customers. You treat the small customer just like the big customer. And to me, that has always been so important. And that's why I've always known about Datacom is doing that. So I know you'll continue that.
Yes,
Well,
thank you.
first off, I want to make sure everybody knows Datacom never went anywhere. They just slowed down for a little bit while they reorganized. There's the same company. They have this American-made technology, and we're going to be doing more videos with Tomy and maybe some of his team members, and actually start digging into the technology. So, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Oh no, I welcome our collaboration, Tim, and I would love to co-author different papers with you and talk about use cases in the next sessions, and dig deeper, more practical applications that your users and your audience can get value from.
Well,
so
we're
I
right
appreciate
now,
that.
yeah, on Network Datapedia right now, we're starting a series of Know Your Network, and we're starting off with simple things like physical layer, ping, trace route, etc. We're slowly giving people access and learning how to do some of the stuff that we used to do because that's all we had. But I know we're going to see a lot of great things out of Datacom, and I want to thank you for spending time with us today. All I can say is I really look forward to seeing some really neat stuff in the near future.
Thank you very much.
You take care. Thank you for coming on board. DatacomSystems, everybody, a great company has been around. Well, they were the founders of our technology that we have in our visibility world today. I used to fight very hard for them when I was at Network General. They were the only one we had there. So
that's right.
Tomy, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and look forward to talking more in the future. Everybody, this is Tomy Issa, or Issa, depending upon what part of the country you're from, and a super nice person. And when people like you represent a company that gives people good, warm, fuzzy feelings, that they're dealing with ethical people.
Oh, so, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. God bless everybody. Yeah, God bless everybody. Be safe, and please stay safe out there. And let's end hate. Let's all start taking care of each other more. Okay. God bless. Bye-bye, Tomy.